Welcome, beautiful souls. I'm going to talk about 10 things that people don't tell you about going through a spiritual awakening. For those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Danielle Kottis. This is my channel. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today for Level Up to Glow Up. This is episode 11. I'm so thankful for you being here. You are in the right place at the right time. This is exactly what you need to hear right now. This is what your soul needs to hear. So, hey, everybody from TikTok, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So when you go through a spiritual awakening, as you are right now, there are some definite things that people don't tell you. And I would say this is both the good and the bad of a spiritual awakening, but this is definitely not one of those things that I was told. So if you're going through this right now, you're newly awakened, or this is like the 6th or 7th time, this is just confirmation for your soul that you are in the right place at the right time, and that these things are happening for a reason for you. And that's going to be okay. But if you are on this journey, this is your first time, again, this is just so that you have confirmation that you are not going crazy and that you are perfectly fine. But without further ado, let's jump right in. So number one, the biggest thing that happens to you, obviously, is that you start questioning everything. I mean, literally everything. And the more you go down this spiritual awakening rabbit hole, the more that you evolve and enlighten, and you expand your brain and you start living up to your full potential. Everything in your life gets questioned. Your family, your purpose, life, why we're here. I mean, you can spend countless hours inside your brain trying to understand why we're here. And there are millions of different people out there that tell you all different things. And maybe you're a starseed, maybe you're a witch, maybe you're a earth angel, maybe you're an empath, maybe you're a psychic. I don't know. I think we're all of those things. But you definitely start to question and search for who you are, right? And why we're all here and what is the purpose. And I put this as number one because this is obvious, but the thing is that it can cause you to, and I'm kind of jumping ahead of myself, but get extremely confused and also to learn some really, really hard truths. And again, this channel is all about teaching you how to question everything. So this is really good. But I really just wanted to put it out there that sometimes it can lead to what's number two, is that you really get to this point where you feel lonely and you enter this hermit mode, because now that you're questioning everything and every decision you ever made, how your life has played out, how others' lives have played out, what all the spiritual teachers are doing, or, the power struggles and things like that. Even your friends are going to question your friends and why you're friends with people and why you do the things that you do and why you've always done those things. Why do they not want to change? Why do you want to change? Why do you want to grow? Why do you want to do all these things? It can really lead to this feeling of loneliness. And I really find that a lot of people going through a spiritual awakening, and or you could call that, epiphanies or anything like that, identity crises, or, what do they call the, calling back to God or source or spirit or whatever. It doesn't matter what it's called, is that you can get really lonely. It can get really lonely, especially if you don't have like a tribe of people that understand what you're going through, or want to talk about those types of things, right? Because really it's, as much as all of you are out there, and there's all these, spiritual leaders and things like that, it is still taboo on this side of spirituality versus religion, to really sit down and talk about this and talk about life and why we're here and why we've been dropped here and don't remember anything and what we're supposed to be doing and what is the meaning of all of that, and what do you believe happens after death, and what are all these options, and do we really have spiritual abilities or psychic gifts and things like that, and was that our nature? There are a lot of people that don't like to talk about that, and they shy away from that, and because all they've known their entire life is religion or non-religion, really, or some version of spirituality. So it can get really, really lonely at times. And I find that in those moments of loneliness, you go in tarot, it's called the hermit mode, right? And you kind of retreat back to yourself. And really what this spiritual awakening is teaching you is to be comfortable with yourself. And it is a good thing that you're retreating and that you do feel somewhat lonely at times, because you will discover that you are really never truly alone. And that's really cool to reach that level where you finally realize that, it's okay to be alone, right? It's okay to be alone with your thoughts and feelings. And although you are alone, you don't have to feel lonely. And that's what the hermit mode teaches you. And it's okay to retreat from the world. It's okay to come back to yourself. And in fact, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So if that's where you are and you're like, why was I born into this family? What's going on with these people? And why are my friends with these people? Why do I work this way? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? Why do we work 9 to 5s? Why is there religion? Why is there politics? Why are there separations? Why does everybody hate each other? That's okay for you to come back and really just ask yourselves these questions and, kind of get lost in your own spiritual journey, right? Have that time and space. I do caution you, and I will get to that. Don't get too lost in it. We do live in this 3D reality, which I'll get to. But it's okay for you to retreat. And in fact, it's okay for you to go to multiple retreats back home and coming back to that hermit mode and coming back to this feeling. And you will find that, I'm getting into number 3 now, is that there is shadow work that needs to be done. So for those of you who don't know what shadow work is, please go watch one of my episodes about shadow work. During these hermit modes, that's really where your shadow work is going to be the most important, and that's healing. All right. Now, what people don't tell you is the intensity of the shadow work, the intensity of the healing. Because when you go through something like this, where you're reaching another level of your brain capacity, right? Well, not capacity, it's unlimited, but another percentage of your brain starts opening up and you start to perceive the world differently, yourself differently, things like that. You will start to notice that you have some things that need to be healed. In fact, probably more than you had anticipated. And similar to when you become a mother, and if you're a guy watching, just hang on for a sec. When you become a mother, all of your trauma from your entire life comes up to the surface for it to be healed. It's very, very similar to that. Each spiritual awakening that you go through, epiphany, percentage of your brain capacity opening up, you're going to find that there are things that need to be healed. And the healing can be extremely trying. And if you don't have a lot of people to talk to about that, it can be, again, like number 2, lonely. And you might feel guilty or ashamed about who you are, who you were, or where you're going, or things like that. And that's okay. Those are totally normal. It is imperative that you validate your own thoughts and feelings. Take a look at some of my tapping videos that I do. It's very imperative that you find a way to validate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions and your past traumas and allow them to come up. I highly recommend working with a trauma specialist or a therapist or an energy healer or some sort of healing coach to help you get through the traumas, right? Because trauma gets stored in the body and causes dis-ease in the body. So it's very important that you use energy healing to move through it and different trauma techniques to help move through the shadow work. But that is one thing that I was not prepared for, the level of shadow work. And what's really interesting is that if you don't do the healing work, you don't do the shadow work, working on the parts of yourself that you don't like, the parts of yourself that you hide, the traumas that you've hidden, suppressed, the emotions and thoughts that you have suppressed, what's going to happen because you're going through the spiritual awakening is that spirit and source, the universe, is actually going to bring things into your life to force you to go through that so that you can now reach the next level. So if you don't work on that, like crazy things to force you to work on that will keep resurfacing until you sit with yourself and you actually do the work and acknowledge that you've been through trauma, acknowledge that you have all these emotions stored, acknowledging that you might have some toxic tendencies, that you have some, personality traits that are not really that great. It's really important that you take this time to go through shadow work. So go watch the video on shadow work. That will really, really help you, or listen to it on the podcast about shadow work. But that is definitely one thing that people did not tell me, is that once you go through this, shadow work is rough, but totally worth it. You will have a lot of crying. Okay, this is normal to go through that lonely stage, the hermit mode, the shadow work. Like, this is all good. Now, the next thing they didn't tell me is that it's going to cause you a shit ton of fucking confusion. Confusion in the sense that it's hard to integrate back into regular life. And what's kind of good is that spirit or source, or the universe, or your brain, whatever you want to say, allows you space and time in between each of those spiritual awakenings, because you will go through many. So if you just think this is your first one, you're like, woo, yes, that's it. No. You're going to go through very many of them. And that's really what life's about, right? Growing and evolving, reaching levels of ascension, parts of your brain opening up and expanding. So you will go through many of them. And which is great, is that you will have some lag time in between there to kind of recuperate. But the confusion is that we want to live up here, right? Because this is what we think life should be, and it really should be, where we are talking about this, where like our whole lives revolve around spiritual, emotional, and physical growth. Like, that's extremely important, but we do live in this 3D reality. So we're in this fifth dimension, right, in our brain, where we're like, oh my gosh, we are reaching our full potential. We're doing things to help ourselves. We're helping others. We're healing ourselves. We're healing others. And we want to talk more about life. We want to discover more of those things. But really, we're still not in this 5D world, right? We're in this 3D world, which is very dense. And, we do have to work. We do have to make some money. We do have to, go through day-to-day activities. Hopefully one day we will all reach this 5D world and be able to live life like that. But right now we're in this 3D world. So it's going to cause you some confusion, because you're going to want to spend a lot of time up here, discovering all these abilities and things about your life and about what else is out there. Again, you could be starseeds, aliens, there's so much shit. Yoga, meditation, chakra healing, crystals, like witchcraft, like there's just so much. And you're going to love it, and you're going to have so much fun with it. And you're going to be like, well, how do I integrate this into real life? And then how do you come back to real life and enjoy life in the 3D realm? And then you don't want to get caught in so much of the materialistic parts of it, right? But you also do, because you do need that to survive, right? So you're kind of in this wishy-washy phase where you're like, fuck, I don't know how to integrate back into real life, right? And those of you that are on TikTok, I'm sure you've seen a lot of different videos of younger generations, that are anywhere between 15 and 21 that are, they're crying on social media saying why do we work this 9-to-5 job? Why do we just wake up and why is it just this way? And they just start crying. They're like, this can't be all there is to life. And they're right. And we're right. This can't be all there is to life, but we also do need to live in this world. So it's going to kind of cause you confusion, and you're going to spend some time trying to integrate. And this is very imperative that you do need to integrate. So what you want to try to do, which I'm still doing myself, is finding a balance between your spiritual work, how you want to live life, what you want your life to look like, and the 3D version of life, right? So finding that balance can be extremely difficult, and it's okay to go up and down. So I kind of want to move into number 5 and just say that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. People don't tell you that it's not all rainbows and butterflies after a spiritual awakening or an upgrade. It is healing and growth is not linear. This confusion and integrating back into life is not linear. And it goes like this. It's like a roller coaster, right? So it's finding that fine line. That's what I used to tell my moms, is that there's going to be sometimes these extreme highs where you feel like you can manifest anything, where life is amazing, and then extreme lows, like, why are we doing this? Why is life like this? Why are people like this? Why am I like this? Da, da, da. And then you're going to go back up, and then you're going to go down, and then you're going to go back up, and then you're going to go back down. So it's really trying to find it so that like what I used to teach my moms is that we want to be on this even keel where our ability to bounce back is quicker, right? So if you're going through this extreme high and then extreme low, you might be like this for a month and then that for a month, right? So really what you want it to get it to is that you have more good days than bad, right? Or more, like, you don't want to be so extreme and so extreme. You want it to be kind of like this even ebb and flow. Does that make sense? Ebb and flow of those ups and downs, right? Of those healings, of those confusion times where we're trying to integrate so that the integration becomes easier for us, where we can kind of go with the flow of life, use our intuition, live in the 3D and know what makes us happy and do those things that make us happy and be okay with all of those things. I hope I'm making sense for you guys. So there is that confusion that's going to come with it. And sometimes that confusion is could be detrimental to your mental health, because you're like, fuck, why don't people talk about this? Why didn't I learn this? Why is this way? Why are people living like they're blind? Why are they, it's just so exhausting at certain times. So just keep in mind that that's sort of what you're going to be experiencing. So let's move into number 6. So another crazy thing that people don't tell you is you're literally going to want to learn everything. You're going to want to know every single answer to every single thing. And your brain, again, is going to go crazy. You're going to buy all the books. You're going to join the courses. You're going to get the coach. You're going to do these things. You're going to meditate. You're going to try and do those things. And you're going to go. And then there's a point where you're kind of burn out a little bit, right? Because you're like, I just want to know everything. I just want to know everything. Now, when you want to know everything, right, you will find some of the answers that you're looking for. Some of them will be awesome. You will be like, fuck yes, this is exactly what I want to hear. And some of them you'll be like, shit, like, oh man, like what I thought I knew is a lie, and you're going to be like, damn, like, so just so you're aware is that there is such things as information overload, right? So take your time. You literally have a lifetime to learn these things. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to learn one way of something. And then, learn some other things and be like, oh, I don't like that way. I'm going to do this way, So let's say you started out with yoga and then you went to meditation, then you started learning about emotional freedom technique and matrix reimprinting, and then you might learn about witchcraft, you might learn about all these things. So it's okay to pick and choose out of all those things what works for you, what you like, right? And that you don't necessarily need to become an expert tomorrow, right? Some of you are going to be like, oh, I love tarot. I'm going to become a tarot reader. Like, you can become a tarot reader, but it's not necessary for you to do that. Only if you want to. Some of you are going to want to know everything about star seeds. And then you might, like, one day you might learn that you want to be a witch instead. Like, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to learn all these things. It's okay to change your perspective, your perception, your beliefs about things, your truth. It's going to evolve over time as you learn things. So whatever you think you know right now, it's going to constantly evolve. Whatever you think you believe right now, it's going to constantly evolve. So remember, if you haven't watched my cycles of life, life is a constant change. It's okay that things are changing. It's okay that your thoughts and beliefs are changing. It's okay that you want to learn everything, but slow down a little bit. Slow down. Information overload, you're going to burn out. All right. And really, what I find with integration is that if there's too much information, then you learn so much and then you kind of revert back, right? So you want to learn and integrate. There's only so many courses and books and podcasts and things that you can do. If you don't start integrating them into your life, you're going to revert back to your old subconscious beliefs, the old way of life, right? And then you're going to fight with yourself, and then you're going to go back, and then you're going to do the shadow work, and you're going to go back and so try little bits at a time and integrate as you learn. And don't take everything as 100% truth, right? Everything is not 100% true. Everything's not 100% false. There's truth and falseness. I don't know if that's a word to everything. So make sure you keep that in mind. Okay. Number 7. I'm going to kind of truncate. I'll just do number 7 by itself. But number 7, you're going to learn things about yourself that you're not going to like. You're not going to like. I will give you an example if you guys haven't watched some of my videos on my life in general. You will learn that you do have toxic traits, that you have been doing things or reacting certain ways or living in this world in a way that you didn't know you were doing. And you're really, damn, like, you don't like that part of me. Don't like that. It's okay. It's part of the shadow work. It's part of your healing. It's part of your growth. Those parts of yourself, toxicity and all, weakness and all, they are part of you. And it's okay that you found some things that you didn't like about yourself, or find some things about your life that you did. What this is teaching you is forgiving yourself for certain things that you did in your life when you were asleep. Okay. Some things you did to other people when you were asleep. And it's going to teach you about the parts of yourself, at least what I believe, from past lives as well as this life. And it's going to help you. The whole purpose of finding out these things about yourself that you don't really like is going to be to pull them in. So look up soul retrieval. So you're really pulling the parts of yourself in, right? And it's going to make you love yourself even more. When you acknowledge these parts of yourself, again, watch that video on shadow work, but really what it is things you don't like about other people, you actually don't like about yourself, that they're in there, or you did those things to yourself, or you did them to other people. So it's acknowledging that there are parts of you that are flawed, dark, twisted, toxic, whatever, and learning to say, okay, well, I do have those things. Acknowledging, becoming aware that you have those things and retrieving them back to you. And being like, okay, everybody is light, everybody is dark. We all have light in the dark in the light, so on and so forth. So be gentle with yourself. It's all about validating, honoring, and really coming to love those parts and parent those parts, heal them, parent yourself, right? Learn where they came from, learn while they're here, learn what are the best ways to heal them or integrate them and make them a part of you, and just become aware when they show up. So that's something people didn't tell me, was that you were definitely going to find some stuff about yourself that you don't like. You're like, fuck. But it's all for a purpose. It's all to learn how to forgive yourself, accept yourself fully, flaws and all. And that is huge. Number 8, you are going to discover a shit ton of hidden talents and abilities you didn't know you had, that were lying dormant, or ones that you knew that you had, but are going to come out, right? So I truly believe that we all have spiritual abilities, psychic gifts, superpowers, all that stuff. I think every single person in the world has that. And you're going to discover that you have these abilities. Like, you have an ability to channel, ability to read tarot, ability to manifest, ability to do magic, ability to talk to the other side, ability to read people, to read between the lines, to have intuitive hits, to connect with people on a deeper energetic level, that you can, really create the life that you want. And it's truly incredible when you start discovering those powers. As you discover those powers, don't beat yourself up right now. Okay. It took you years to be where you are, of being asleep, right? And not knowing that you have these abilities, or suppressing them. So it's going to take you some time to pull them out, right? I'm still learning and growing. Like, I don't know everything either. I don't think anybody really does. But you're going to discover those gifts. Not only are you going to do that, but you're going to discover talents, like physical, like talents in the 3D world that you didn't know you have. And your body and brain are going to be able to do some magnificent things, because you're going to start to realize that your spirit is way more powerful than we ever thought. Our brain is way more powerful, and so is our body. And when we set our mind to something, you're going to be able to follow through with those things. So you may discover that you are a painter, a drawer, a singer, a dancer. You may discover that you are really good at videos or really good at copywriting. I don't know. You're really good at tarot. You're really good at writing books. You might journal. You will start to do things that you haven't done before. And it's going to be fun because you're going to be like, shit, like, I can't believe I spent all this time not knowing I had this gift or talent. And it's all pretty much going to come from your whole life of pain and suffering and then this spiritual awakening. And you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know I had this ability to do these things. I didn't know I had this talent. And you might, go back to the things you used to do as a child and do them in real life, and have fun with it. So yeah, that was a good part of this spiritual awakening that people didn't tell me. I mean, I knew that you would get some kind of psychic abilities, but I didn't know also that it transferred to like this physical world where where I'm on here and I'm talking to you guys. Like, this is a talent I didn't know I had, right? Like, so there are plenty of them that I didn't know I had. And you're going to find that you all of a sudden have this newfound, what's the word? Motivation for life, right? Like this drive and this motivation. Also keep in mind that with the other 3 or how, I don't know what number I'm at right now, but that you're going to get those dips, right? Of like, okay, well, maybe things aren't working and stuff like that. And you might be unmotivated. Those times are okay. It's okay for you to dip from, the hermit mode back up, the hermit mode back to highest potential, manifestation. This is okay that you're going on this like rapid roller coaster or whatever. But you're going to find this newfound motivation and desire and drive and determination to do things and to be like, shit, like, I can really live up to my fullest potential. Like, I can really live up to my highest potential. I can do these things. Like, there are people doing these things. Like, I can absolutely do that. So that's what's really cool, is that you may find that you had this passion that you didn't know you had. And that is like the fun part of going through a spiritual awakening. And that is definitely not what someone told me, that there would be this 3D talents that would come out. But definitely your spiritual gifts and things like that. You will find that everything all of a sudden gets a little more heightened, which is really cool. And each time you go through a new one, you're going to get more epiphanies, more abilities and things like that. So that is like the fun of it. So, number 9, there is something called a spiritual ego trip. All right. So I put this on here because I've been there. And I still go through it every once in a while. And it's really important that you pay attention to this one because this is definitely not something that someone told me. Okay, spiritual ego trip is where you now all of a sudden think that you're better than everyone because you've gone through a spiritual awakening, right? Because you've reached another level, because you have these abilities. So then you will feel like you need to talk down to others, right? And I always have to check myself when I get on these videos and things like that, because I don't want to ever feel like I know more than somebody else, because I want to consider myself as a beginner always, because that's the fun of it. You're always learning. And I want you guys to know that even though you're just starting out, you probably know just as much as I do inside your soul, inside your brain. You just don't know it yet. So anyway, when I have to check myself every once in a while, because I know what it's like to go through a spiritual ego trip, and I actually see it all the time on social media, where these people get up here and yes, they've probably been on their spiritual journey for a really long time and they've learned a lot of things. But they will tell you that, you need them, you need them to do whatever, to be your coach or to be your, religious leader or whatever you want to call it, that you need them. The truth is you don't need them. It is great. You don't need me either. It is great for you to have a guide. But there is no reason that you need to follow people blindly and that they know more than you. And what you're going to find is that you will go through a period of time where you will feel like you know more than other people, and you may know more knowledge, But that there's a fine line between helping someone as a peer and a somewhat superior, and then to think that you are this, special someone that came down here because you're like a star seed, or you're like this, or you're a witch, or you can't, whatever it is. You're not better than everybody else. Everybody else is just asleep, right? So just because you're awake, it doesn't mean that you became better than everyone else. I'm treading lightly as I talk, because you will know what I'm talking about when you start to go through it. And you will feel the need to like educate other people and talk about this to other people. And that's okay. You are allowed to do that. But be careful what your brain does, okay? Because I was in a relationship with a spiritual narcissist. I've seen spiritual narcissism. Like, I don't know if you guys know, Bikram yoga is based off of spiritual narcissism. It's where people truly believe that they are descendants from God, that they have, they're angels or they're star seeds or whatever. And all that very may be well true. But keep in mind, everybody is like that. Everybody is like that. They're just sleeping right now. Everybody has these abilities. Everybody comes from something like that. Everybody comes from source. Everybody is source. All right. So just because you may know more, it doesn't make you better than these people. Right? I hope that makes sense. So just be careful with your spiritual ego trips. I've been on many. Check yourself every once in a while. Everybody is going through the same thing, just at different rates. So just always keep that in mind, that you are your own best healer. You're your own best guru. You're your own best truth, whatever you want to call it. You have the answers within you. So do all those other people. It's great that we're educating. It's great that you're educating other people. It's great that I'm educating. The other people are educating. But don't ever make somebody feel like they are less than of a person. Because you are at a different level than them, right? We want to include everybody. We want to make everyone feel safe and loved for the most part, right? As best as we can. We don't want to talk down to them. It's like you don't kick a person when they're down. It's similar to that, right? We don't want to like try to elevate ourselves so that we are some sort of prophet or messiah, because, crazy shit happens. Wars have started over that. So let's check ourselves. Anyway, last one, number 10, is that I think the best part about this is that you are going to truly find that life is fun and it's a game. Like, we are literally living a game, and you are the avatar and you're in charge of how your game is played. I don't know how old you are watching this, but there are plenty of games. I think the first game that started off building a world and building people was probably like, I don't know, World of Warcraft or Sims or something like that. Now I don't know what they're called. I don't play video games, but think of it as that. Like, you're the avatar. Like, you are in a game and you're going to the next level. If you haven't watched it, watch my episode on Life is a Game, how to play the game of life. Like, it becomes fun. It becomes a challenge. Everything becomes, what am I learning? How can I grow from this? Why am I in this situation? What is the gift in this situation? What am I learning? My whole life is now a gift. It's a blessing. What can I do next? What's the next level? What's the next thing? Where am I in the game? Like, and then think about it, like however much you've learned, and maybe it's a month, a year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, you still have so much to learn. You still have so many more levels to go through. Still have so many things to grow and evolve from. So it becomes fun. Then as you get your spiritual abilities, they're coming in, and they come in when you're ready. Everything comes at the time when you're going to have these, the talents you didn't know you had, and they're going to keep evolving. So think about where you've been, where you are now, like you still have so many years to go. So just the idea that like you're growing at this rapid rate now, that your brain's expanding, that you're reaching your fullest potential, like things become fun, and you're like, okay, well, what can I manifest now? What can I do now? What can I learn now? How can I try this differently? Who can I talk to? What kind of friends can I make? What can I do, with the law of attraction? Like you're going to just see that anything and everything is possible. Like the perception and perspective of life is going to shift. Like your relationships are going to change. The relationship to yourself is going to change. It's going to be like, life is going to become magical. Your definition of life is going to drastically change your definition of love, happiness, joy, gratitude, abundance, like wealth, all these things, health, they're all going to start changing and shifting. And I think that's like the fun of it. So people didn't tell me that it becomes so much more magical. So I kind of started with like this is the hard stuff, the questioning, the this, the that. And then I'm ending on a high note for you because all of this happens and it happens for a reason. And you're going to keep cycling through this each time that you're going through a spiritual awakening. And you can always come back to this video just to remind yourself you're not going crazy. Like this is normal. This is, the part that gets fun. Now it starts getting fun. And then you're going to go through this again. You're going to start questioning everything. You're going to start, feeling lonely. You're going to go through the hermit mode. You're going to go through the shadow work. You're going to go through the confusion. You're going to want to learn everything again. Then you're going to go through this whole thing, find things about yourself you didn't like, you like, and then hidden talents. And then you're going to go through it again. And then life is a game and blah, blah, blah. So this is the 10 things that people didn't tell me about what you're going to go through during a spiritual awakening. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please give me a thumbs up. And please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about your spiritual awakening, or there's other things that people didn't tell you about going through a spiritual awakening, write in the comments below. I want to know what you're going through. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know what is the craziest thing that you've experienced, or what are you questioning? And I will see what I can do to help you get through this, or just validate that this is all normal, that you're totally fine. Maybe tell you some of my stories. But leave it in the comments below. I want to hear from you. I want to connect with you on a deeper level. I want you to have a safe space to talk about these things with, or a place to go where you can talk about these things and you feel safe talking about them. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Sending you so much light and love. May your day be filled with many, many blessings and a whole lot of magic. Until next time.